I am Aakriti Thatal. I am from Sikkim and I am one of the Northeast Fellows with IDR this year.
I am Kuvethilu Thuluo, IDR Northeast Fellow from Nagaland.
Hi, I am Banteilang Syiem. I am an IDR Northeast Media Fellow from Meghalaya.
A small detail that I like to keep in my story is the landscape, like the mountain and the trees, where the story unfolds. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I always attempt to include them.
I tend to write a lot of descriptive accounts. For instance, if I'm writing about a place, I would write about the location, I would write about the weather there. If I'm writing about an interaction, I would probably write about the expressions on the person's face or the words that they use to describe something, right?
One small detail that I always kept, maybe that most people would cut, is the pause right before they actually give the answer. Because either they're going to give something really, really deep or something really not so serious. See. One thing that people usually assume about my work is that I always have like a solid plan, but things don't always go according to plan. So in that situation, you'll have to improvise. And some of the best stories that I actually got was through improvisation.
When people think of writing or researching, the assumption is that it has so much to do with writing and reading. But a lot of time is spent on reaching out to the right person. So you reach out to your contacts, you ask your contacts to reach out to their contacts to find the right person.
Much of my work is born out of interaction and engagement with people, and something that a few people in the past have assumed about these interactions is that they can be rather dull and tedious. And I think a person cannot be further from the truth, because in my experience, these engagements have been some of the most enriching ones.
The one question I always like to ask people when I interview them is, in the end, I like to ask them if they want to say anything that I have not asked them or we have not discussed in our conversation. I do so because I believe that knowingly or unknowingly we go into this kind of conversations with certain assumptions, and when you ask this question, those assumptions gets dismantled, and I believe it opens the way for a more grounded story to emerge.
A fundamental question which I think is important for both the participant and myself is to ask them to tell me a little bit about themselves, because one can only research so much, right, or learn about something. And while being informed is one thing, approaching a situation or a person assuming that you know everything about them or the work that they do can be limiting.
And one thing that I always ask people I interview was, what did they want to be when they were maybe 10 years old? Because at that age, some of the things that we want to be were quite ridiculous and usually brings out maybe a funny or kind of a humorous answer.